Hi, this is Cheryl Mays from Rise and Shine Consulting Firm, and thank you for joining me for our Moments of Elevation, where we spend 10 minutes together to get mental, get motivated, and then get moving, get back to work, and have a successful day. Have something at the end of the day that you can celebrate. So what I'd like for you to do is to share these videos that I share. I'm sure the techniques, the tools, the motivation, the inspiration will be something that someone else will definitely need in order to get them through their day. So you just never know. So sharing is caring, isn't that what they say? So definitely share this video. Go to my YouTube channel at Cheryl Mays, subscribe. So that way you can be notified whenever a new video is actually uploaded. And then here in this Facebook group at riseandshine.success, and also on Instagram at riseandshinecf. So let's go ahead and get started. There has been so much talk about everything that's going on in the world. I saw on the news last night where there's just an elevation of anxiety, depression, and we are in like this virtual overload, which is actually overloading our mental capacities. And so we have, in the midst of all of these things going on, we've got all of these emotions that are happening, and they're creating this anxiety, this fear, this disbelief of what's going on, or this inability to reconcile differences. And I thought about, what are we dealing with now? And I had to make a list. And so here's some of the things, and I'm sure I'm missing some. We're looking at the unemployment states. We're looking at people that haven't gotten checks yet. We're looking at businesses closing. We're looking at the protesters. We're looking at police reform. We're looking at racial tension, the debate over mask wearing, school reopenings, foreclosures, evictions, the pandemic, this COVID-19 that has just changed the entire paradigm of how we live our lives every day. And now, as you've seen on the news, we are in this area of red states versus blue states because of the election that's coming up in November. So with that being said, there is a lot going on. And what I learned from watching that one specific program was that there is a need for self-care. And it's not being selfish. It is truly self-care. What are you doing to care for your mental stability? What are you doing to care for those that are around you, their mental stability? Now, September is dedicated as Self-Improvement Month. And so for the next couple of weeks, I want to focus on areas that we can do for ourselves that will allow us to better handle the situations that we are in, to better handle those things that I just listed. Because if we don't get a grip on ourselves, then there's going to be a huge fallout in just mental illnesses. There's going to be a rapid increase in what's already elevating. And so what does that look like? Well, I have an individual that I've been working with on a program that will be coming out in September. And she's a doctor of psychology, Dr. Tracy Thomas. And she's going to come on and she's going to talk to us next week about things that we can do to help our mental stability and some of the things that she shares in her classes that she teaches as well as with her patients. And so I'm excited to be able to bring her to you because I think it's going to be something that's going to help all of us. And I know it's definitely going to help me also. So what can we do today, right? What can we do today? What is it that we have control over that will help us to practice levels of self-care? One of the things is definitely stop watching every television program, everything that talks about what's going on in the world. Now, there's a difference between being knowledgeable and being obsessed with this information because that's where the mental strain comes in. Because there is so much going on. And if you are getting news prompts at work on your phone through Yahoo News or through Facebook News or through Google News, any of those things where you are constantly getting news updates, stop getting the updates because that's going to stop you from being able to think about what I want to talk about later. But we have to think about what we're watching on television, because that is huge and it's impacting our mental states. Now, scientists have said that for every hour of television that you watch, you decrease your level of happiness by 5%. So when you think about that, I am huge on what I watch at the end of the day. Typically, is this your routine? So you watch the 10 o'clock news, maybe the 11 o'clock news, and then you wake up in the morning and you watch the Sunrise News or CBS Morning America, one of those news stations. And so you are just getting this stuff all the time when you go to sleep and first thing when you wake up. Think about this. 30 minutes prior to you going to sleep, what you digest, what you're viewing, you carry that with you in your sleep. So if you are one of those individuals and you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so restless. I can't figure out why I can't get to sleep. Think about what is it that you watched right before you decided to call it a day. And so when you start thinking about the things that you have control over, that's one of those. You have control over what you watch. And so I encourage you to stop watching so much of this news that we're seeing. The second thing that I want you to do is to start thinking about how can you live the day in a positive mindset. Now, I know because of everything that's going on, and you're probably in some of these situations that I experienced, I also have had someone pass away from COVID-19, so I get what that feels like. And I also understand that we have to think about self-care. We have to think about how do we take care of ourselves during this time? How do we take care of our mental state, our physical state, our health? Because all that's connected. So how do we take care of that? You have to think about what is it that you can do positive during the course of the day. And even ask yourself the question, what is it that I can do today that's positive, that's going to leave me an opportunity to feel good? That's the question that you need to ask yourself. Because when you do that, now you start to thinking about opportunities. You start to thinking about things that make you happy. And you engage in one or two of those things so that you take care of your mental state, which then will allow you to take care of some of this other stuff that we are actually dealing with during the course of the day, during the course of the time that we are watching all of this stuff that's happening around us. And how do we deal with that? And how do we have conflict resolution and be okay with having a difference of opinions? All of that comes into play with our mental state. So I encourage you to do two things. Number one is to stop watching all the news. Secondly, is to think of something positive that you can think about during the course of the day that's going to allow you to smile. It's going to allow you to say hi to someone and genuinely have the smile on your face. You know, now that we're wearing masks, people talk about the smiling eyes, right? To see that your eyes are smiling. So I encourage you to practice self-care during this time because that's what we need. So thank you for joining me for this moment of elevation where we spent 10 minutes together just to have some time to talk about our mental state, to get motivated, and then to get back to work and implement some of these tools that we've actually talked about. I definitely want you to continue to join me on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon for our moments of elevation. Share this video, share all of the videos. Go to my YouTube channel and subscribe at Cheryl Mays. Instagram, Rise and Shine CF, and then here in this Facebook group, riseandshine.success. And don't forget, literally, mark your calendars, put it on your calendars. Next week, we will hear from Dr. Tracy Thomas, who is a psychologist, that's going to talk to us about mental health and how we can actually take care of ourselves, because that's what we need to do. You know, they say you can't take care of other people unless you take care of yourself. They do it on the planes, right? When that oxygen mask comes down, put yours on first and then put someone else's on. There's this saying that if your tank is low, how can you fill someone else up? So we know what needs to be done. Now you just have to implement it and sustain it. So have an amazing day. Thank you for joining me. My name is Cheryl Mays, and I am from Rise and Shine Consulting.